right. Hello, everybody. Hope you all are doing well. This is DFS Army's pre-lock show for NBA. Nice 5-game slate on deck. And I think we both like this slate a good bit, right, Brandon?
Yep. Overall, I mean, there's definitely a couple ugly spots, but overall, definitely looking like a solid slate.
Agreed. And happy New Year's Eve, everybody. Yeah. OG, I see you in the chat. Agreed. Everyone be safe. Don't drink and drive. Be careful out there. It's going to be crazy. I'm going to be running around like a madman tonight. Steven, good to see you guys too. Everybody, I appreciate it. Kevin, Wagwan, hope all is well. We do need a hoop intro, but no one's done that yet, and I'm not going to make it. So here we are. Last night's slate, I feel like we hit on some low-owned guys, man. But I had too much Ivy. Ivy kind of screwed things up. Was there what else went wrong? I know something went wrong.
The Kings suck and Clippers got pulled early. That definitely
Yeah.
hurt.
So it was one of those where it could have been worse, but I saw the light. I thought I had a takedown coming, and it didn't come. I didn't have it all together. So it happens. We'll get it together hopefully tonight. Deshad, yeah, happy New Year's Eve. Let's make it a really good New Year's by making this a good slate. I'm sharing my screen today. Ooh, let's go, Kevin. Took down a $5 single entry in the early slate. Good shit, man. I didn't do anything with that, so that's all you, man. That is all you. Starting off, we have the Pelicans going up against the Bulls. Highest total on the slate, closest spread on the slate. This is the game. Ton of injuries. These guys suck at defense, both teams. So I'm going to have a lot of exposure here. Starting off, we have the Pelicans side of it. Herb Jones is out. Jose Alvarado is out. And then, of course, DeJounte Murray's been out for a while now. Going up against this banged-up Bulls team, who's standing out for you today?
Yeah, I love both sides of the ball here. I think this will be the game of the night. I'm definitely not going to make the mistake that I made last night with the Philly and Memphis game that was projecting to be the best game, and it was. So I'm kind of treating this side of the ball similar to Memphis. There are some chalky guys here, but definitely some lower on guys here as well that can go off. So I'll start with Zion first. I usually been avoiding him, especially since he's still been playing under 30 minutes. But again, last night, you can throw Ja in the same category. Absolutely smashed in a super soft matchup. Zion's in a super soft matchup tonight. Almost 250 game total is just crazy. And all he needs is 42 points to reach values, which I think he can do here. So he will be a core play for me. Currently have 65%. Put a 25% man on Trey Murphy, right under Zion. He has the next highest upside. We've seen him smash before, typically with Zion out, but in this kind of environment, I think he can get there as well. And also plays a ton of minutes too. So definitely like him. I am taking a shot on Derek Queen tonight. 6% ownership. Do have to be worried about his minutes, of course, but I'm just going to take that chance. If you don't trust Vooch tonight, I think Derek Queen is the perfect pivot, $200 cheaper at 6% ownership. So he's a leverage play for me tonight at 15%. Ownership or exposure. Nice. Sadiq Bey, I love his price. He's somebody who can get you around 40 fantasy points. So 5,900. I think he's too cheap for the spot he's in. I'm just matching the field there and put a 15% man. And then I think it's definitely time that we have to consider Jordan Poole, especially with Alvarado still out. That kind of secures his minutes a bit more. I think he played exactly 26 minutes last time and looked really good. And we know he's going to get his shots up. So, and again, in this kind of environment, that should be fast paced, no defense whatsoever. He thrives in situations like this. So, 15% men on him as well. I did consider Fears, but I didn't force him in just due to the other cheaper guards we have.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel like we're switching places. Normally, I have a lot of men's, and you're
Yeah.
keeping it standard. For me, I'm just kind of like, I like who I like, and we'll let the DS figure out the rest. So it's always funny when we kind of alternate like that. For where I'm at, I only have a min on Derek Queen. Like you mentioned, his minutes are volatile as all hell. He's not a super consistent player, but he has relatively consistent upside, if that makes sense. And so that's something I'm always going to bet on when he's low owned, and that's the spot today. Price tag is super appropriate. We're not getting value here, but that's why he's low owned. So I'll take a shot on him. When we look at specific ownerships, Zion is showing up naturally in 46% of lineups, slightly over the field there. He was showing up a bit more for me before I made some other changes. I think he's a fine play, but he's not someone I'm trying to, I'm not going to make him a core player or anything like that. The reasoning is because his minutes are still limited, and it's honestly kind of like a coin flip between Zion, Trey Murphy, Saddiq Bey. It's kind of like, who's it going to be today? And so I like just having exposure to all three. I didn't really make one the guy on this slate. And then Trey Murphy showing up in 24% of lineups. If he goes below 22%, I don't like that. So I'm keeping a close eye out for that on every run. But him showing up in 24% is fine. And then Saddiq Bey, I'm right around 11% ownership. I was like Brandon close to putting that 15% min on him, but 11% is close enough for a guy I don't feel, again, overly passionate about. I like the Jordan Poole call. I don't think I'll put a min on him because I like a couple of other guards a bit more who I decided to put mins on, but he's been really good, so hard to argue against that. And then that's about it for me. I think we're both in agreement. This is just a really good game.
Yep.
Next up, we have the Bulls side of this. And we like the Bulls tonight because there's no Josh Giddey, who is the guy for this team. Hurt me the last slate when he got injured. That sucked. Kobe White is also out. So we're looking at guys like Trey Jones, Ayo Dosunmu, Kevin Huerter, all seeing a boost in usage and minutes. That's why they're the chalk on this slate. And then outside of that, guys like Zach Collins is still out. So that just makes guys like Jalen Smith a little bit safer. So, and then they also have the super soft matchup against the Pelicans, who haven't been playing great defense for the vast majority of this season. I'm sure you like a lot of these guys. How are you looking at it?
This is by far the team of the night. This is where majority of the value will be. Again, it's couldn't ask for a better matchup unless it's Utah, but I think New Orleans is the next best thing for them. The only thing I manually did was put a 30% min on Jalen Smith. I wasn't getting any, and this game is just way too good to not have any exposure to him. It unfortunately knocked some of my Buzelis exposure down. So I'll be around 40% on Buzelis and 30 on Jalen. But Jalen's been playing a ton of minutes, especially ever since Collins went down. He's just been smashing and just in an even better spot with more minutes and usage to go around without Giddey and Kobe White still missing too. So definitely love him. And then I didn't have to do really anything else to anybody. Like literally everybody else is popping it. Probably would be easier to say who I'm not playing, and that is of course Okoro, Pat Will, Carter, and Terry. But I mean, I'm pretty much 50% and above on everyone else. So
yeah, the DS loves these guys, and
yeah.
I'm not going to overthink it.
Yeah.
I don't have a min on Vucevic. He's someone that I don't feel overly passionate about, primarily just because I feel like he's priced appropriately. So I like it when he shows up, but I'm not upset when he doesn't. We'll look at the specific exposures after kind of walk through a few of these plays. Ayo is risky just in the sense of sometimes he just goes ghost for no reason, but I do still like having exposure to him at 5,100 in this game environment. So 40% min there. I'm with you on Jalen Smith, but I think I might like him a little bit more. I put a 45% min on him. Just really want to see a lot of him in lineups. We saw in the last game that both Vucevic and Smith were on the court at the same time. So it was not super impossible for them both to get there. But the thing that is risky is that the coach for Chicago, he does like to just do random shit sometimes with rotations and just who's going to be on the court at the same time. So it wouldn't shock me if we don't see as much Jalen Smith and Vucevic playing at the same time. So we'll have to see, keep a close eye out for that. But the price tag still makes him a really good play. So that's why I'm going to be over the field with that 45% min. And this is a bias spot. I love Buzelis. Like, he's just one of those guys that when he's going, he's so good. And without Giddey, he should have more opportunities. And he's only 4,600. So I wanted to make sure he was showing up more for me on this slate. So I put a 60% min on him. And then Trey Jones shows up by himself. I did cap Kevin Huerter at 60%. I'm still going to be over the field. This isn't a fade. I just didn't need him in 89% of my lineups because he's just super scoring dependent. When Kevin Huerter is hot, he can easily get you 30 to 40 points. When he's not, you're looking at like maybe 20 to 25. And so I just didn't want my entire slate to be based off of that. And then when it comes to Okoro, Patrick Williams, Carter, and Terry, it wouldn't shock me if one of these guys end up popping. Again, kind of like what I mentioned, they do play guys like Jalen Smith, maybe a little bit less, and Okoro and or Patrick Williams decide to do a little bit more offensively than they typically do. At 3,800, I will put like a 5% min on Okoro, just kind of betting on him potentially not being a cardio machine out there. But yeah, and he even shows up a little bit without doing anything, so it makes me feel a little bit better about that. Trey Jones is showing up in 95% of lineups. And then Vucevic is showing up in 44% of lineups. Both significantly over the field. I'm over the field on pretty much every single bull. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I will say Trey Jones is probably my favorite player overall on the team.
Yeah, it's just one of those spots I'm not going to overthink too much. All right. The next few games we can run through a little bit faster because none are as good as that first game, at least to me. But we have the Knicks going up against the Spurs. For the Knicks tonight, we have Josh Hart out still, but he's been out for a little bit now. Should come back later this week. Matchup against the Spurs isn't my favorite spot to typically attack, but this is these totals are all pretty close to each other, so it's not really that different. But this is the second closest spread on the slate, so this game should stay competitive. Are any of these Knicks standing out for you?
Not really standing out, but I did put a 10% min on Brunson just for upside reason and somewhat low ownership for a 5-gamer. And I thought about Cat for a second, but then I thought about all the other centers on the slate and didn't really want to waste a spot on him tonight. He's a little too up and down anyway, so not going there. And I didn't force in OG, but I figured he's at least worth mentioning. He, of course, plays close to 40 minutes, and he's had back-to-back games of scoring at least 45 fantasy points. So I don't hate a shot there if you want somebody with slate breaking upside. So didn't really think about anyone else here. You can always make a case for Bridges, but he's a little more – he's probably Cat's up there with most inconsistent, but Bridges is up there as well.
Hey, I'll give it to Bridges. But for me, I thought about Cat too. He literally is up and down the last few games. Like, he's had a big game, bad game, big game, bad game, which if you want to follow that trend, he's set for a big game. But, man, the Wemby is not an easy guy for these centers to go up against.
That was my other deciding factor is I'm like, well, he is playing Wemby. So, yeah, I'm definitely not doing that tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it would only serve us right. They pisses us off in a bad spot. Like, that is on brand for him. But ultimately, I'm not playing any of the Knicks. And none of them show up for me naturally. Besides Jalen Brunson, he shows up in about 5% of lineups. Mikal Bridges also shows up in one lineup, but I didn't do anything to force that. That's just the DS doing its thing. Hopefully it's right, but we'll see. Next up, we have the Spurs side of this game, and the Spurs are really getting healthier. The tough part here, we did get the Castle news, right? He's playing?
Yep, he's playing.
Nice. Which makes it pretty straightforward. If he was out, there were some potential options here, but this is also a difficult matchup against the Knicks. Did anyone stand out for you?
Yeah, I'm playing a few guys here. I am taking a shot on Wemby, him under 10K. I don't remember the last time we seen that. But there's no way I'm not playing him, even though he is still limited, but he's good enough to still get there. Thought about Castle tonight, but I didn't pull the trigger there. I did force Fox in 20% man. Uh, he hasn't really been that great lately, and is more so just the price, 6,800. He just continues to get cheaper and cheaper, and we do know that upside is still there for him. So just willing to gamble on him at this lower price tag. Um, then I did force in a couple of the 4K guys here. Of course, Chan Penny, we got news that he's starting for Vassell. Should see around 30 minutes at 4,100. Value play, I want to get in the mix, just to have a few lines different from some of the Chicago chalk. And then y'all probably won't like this one, but I forced in Keldon as well. Um, Very inconsistent, but his minutes should rise as well. And he's just one of those value plays where you don't really have ownership to, and he has a random pop off game, and you're like, damn, I wish I forced in some Keldon. So that's kind of how I'm playing him tonight. So 10% min on both of those guys. And that'll actually kind of be as we continue to go through each team. There's quite a few 4K guys that play a lot of minutes that I'm forcing in and are very low owned. So y'all will kind of see that theme follow. I just like having some lines that are different than that Chicago chalk.
Yeah, I agree. Even when I really like the chalk, I'm never against having a couple of spots getting different, because usually you'll see like 3, 4 guys do it and then one guy really disappoints. And so just being able to get different in like that 1 or 2 spots just can really put you in a good situation. But I'm with you on a lot of this. Victor Wembanyama is going to be a leverage play for me tonight for all the reasons you mentioned. Like him a lot. Have a 20% min on De'Aaron Fox, just as a way, again, to get a little bit different at the guard spot, but his ownership has gone up, so he's not very sneaky. And then I liked what you mentioned about Keldon Johnson. I wasn't really on him, but I think at 4,400, he's definitely viable. And then Champagny, I have a 10% min on too. I didn't take a shot on anyone else here, and it does look like Castle showing up in about 4% of lineups naturally. That's fine. Didn't do anything to cause that. And then that's it. Yeah. So decent spot, decent environment, but nothing too crazy there. Then we have the Nuggets going up against the Raptors. 229 total, 6.5 point spread. The interesting thing about the Nuggets is that, of course, Nikola Jokic is out. And Jokic being out on top of guys like Aaron Gordon, Cam Johnson, Christian Brown, who have all been out for a good bit now, does leave room for potential other guys to pop off. The thing I went kind of back and forth on is the Raptors, they're not like the best defense in the league or anything, but they do play physically. So this isn't like a spot I want to get like too crazy on, but I feel like, Brandon, you might talk me into a few more of these guys.
I'm not going too crazy here, but I am taking a few shots. So I'll start with the obvious. Jovel, like no Jokic. He's the next guy up. We know he's a great points per minute guy. Um, I know there's some theories out there about his minutes in question, especially if Raptors decide to play small ball, which could affect Jovel. But I'm not really going to overthink this spot. I know how good he is when he gets to run, so he will for sure be a core play for me. Jamal Murray is my next guy and will be a core play for me as well. He did get priced up, but no Jokic. He's just a easy play for me. He's going to get all the usage, and then he's just another guy who has slate breaking upside. So going well over the field there. And then did put a 10% min on Bruce Brown because he falls into that category of what I just mentioned last game. 4K value play. Gonna play a ton of minutes. Is volatile, but willing to take the shot. with how vital he is in this offense, or I won't say vital, but how much he plays in this offense. So um, that's pretty much it for me. I did consider Hardaway, but I didn't like that he is up to 5K now. But he has been playing well enough to still get there. I just wish he was still in that 4K range.
Yeah. Joval, for me, he's showing up in 87% of lineups. I wouldn't have been upset if he was showing up in 99% of lineups. Like you said, this is just a spot I'm not going to overthink at his price tag. And I just remember how upset he was at first. Like, he was talking about not playing anymore because he's behind Jokic. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, this guy wants the ball. And at this price tag, I'm willing to take the shot. And he's relatively chalky, but I'll be more than double the field here. And then I put a 50% min on Jamal Murray just to kind of make sure. I think he was showing up in about like 42% of lineups without a min for me. And so I just kind of put them in there to solidify him showing up more. I almost put a 60% min on him to make him show up as a core play for me, but I feel like he's priced at his premium right now, and there isn't. And so I just didn't feel like there was enough there for me to be like, you know what? I love this play. I'm going to smash it. Instead, I just want to be like slightly over the field. But he's a really good play because everything should go through him tonight. So I don't disagree with the core play at all. It's just I got a little nervous about it. So 50% felt a little bit more safe. And then none of the other Denver guys are showing up. I do have Bruce Brown in about 4% of lineups. He's the guy I was also close to putting him in on, but I didn't pull the trigger on it. But I'm glad he's still showing up a little bit. All right. Next up, we have the Raptors side of this game. And the Raptors are annoying as all hell. But Jakob Poeltl is out, so we should once again see Mamu start. And then Colin Murray-Boyles, who I think you called on Monday, and he went off. He sees a boost in those situations too. How are you treating the Raptors?
I'll say the same thing I usually say. If the DS gives me some, I'll roll with it. If not, I'm not forcing them in. I called fading Scotty Barnes last game after he put up 80 points, and guess what? He put up 36 points. So that is just the perfect example of how frustrating of a DFS player he is. I will have some just because the DS is giving me some, so I'm currently at 35%, but would not be mad if that fell. On paper, this is a really solid spot for him, though, especially with Jokic out now, and Gordon's been missing for a while too. So this front court is going to be really soft tonight. So I mean, if he can't do it here, then I don't know.
Hey, he did it 2 games ago. He
Yeah,
can still do it.
I need to see it more
Yeah, you're right.
consistency. He definitely wasn't like this last year, so I don't know what's going on with him this year. Brandon Ingram, don't hate it, but currently not getting any, so not going to force the issue there. Same with Quickly. I think both of those guys are viable for sure. Glad you mentioned Murray Boyles. I am taking a shot on him again. 10% min. Might seem gross. It is kind of gross, but he continues to get around 25 minutes. Last game, I called it out under 1% ownership and got almost 11 times value. Will he do that again tonight? I don't know. But again, what I just said about Barnes, this front court will be struggling tonight, and he'll be in a decent spot too. So taking that shot again. Pretty sure he was popping on the sim model too. If you were
Yeah, he was. I just went and checked it. I am so close to. I can't do 10%, but I might do like 5. Let me look at everything. I need to see all these teams together, and then see if I'm missing out on somebody else I might like a little bit more by putting him in on him. No, I mean I do have a Coro here, but if I'm playing a Coro, I might as well play Murray Boyles. Yeah, I'll do a 5% min on him because, like you said, he's shown upside, and so that's all I really care about. So I'll follow you on that, just to a little bit of a lesser degree. And I do like Scotty Barnes in this spot, man. He hasn't been the most consistent player, but I still believe in him. So we can say this is a little bit of a bias for me, but this is a smash spot. Denver without Jokic, I don't think they're going to have a lot of effort on defense. Aaron Gordon's already gone too, who's like a defensive pillar for them. Barnes should be able to make whatever he wants to have happen tonight happen. So 30% min on him. I just want to make sure I was over the field there. Brandon Ingram is maybe like my version of how you view Scotty Barnes. Like I can't stand Brandon Ingram, especially at 20% ownership. That's a hell no for me. And I like Emmanuel quickly. This just isn't a spot. I just think there's other guards I like a bit more on the slate, but they're viable plays. I wouldn't talk someone off of them if you liked them or felt more strongly about them. With that being said, though, Scotty Barnes is showing up in exactly 30% of lineups. Brandon Ingram's only in 6% of lineups. And then Emmanuel quickly some 1% of lineups. So I didn't X them out or anything, just not teams I love. Next up, we have Washington going up against the Bucks. This is when the slate gets a little weird. Gigantic spreads, high totals still, 234, second highest total on the slate. For Washington, though, a team that has deep rotations is how I always like to view them, which means there's not a lot of safety here typically. Keyshawn George is still out, though, which means Trey Johnson should keep starting, which I think is a guy you're on pretty heavily, right?
Yep. Again, he's another cheap 4K guy, plays a decent amount of minutes, has been in great form so far. So 10% min for me, almost double the field. And then I took one more shot. I almost didn't, but he's been in solid form too, and that's Koulibaly. He's been playing close to 30 minutes, and we've already seen a couple games where he's gotten around 40 fantasy points. So if he can do that again at 5,100 at 2% ownership, he's another guy that can skyrocket your lines tonight. So those are the only two I'm taking shots on. Overall, this game is pretty gross.
How much Trey Johnson do you have?
10%.
Okay. Yeah, I like that call. I think it makes a lot of sense. And once again, just a way of getting a little bit different in that 4K range. I don't think it's a bad call, even though I do like the value. And I can't. I tried. I looked at all of these guys. I don't think Sarr is crazy. I just think there's so many centers who are in better spots. I can't look at the rest of the Wizards. Let me see if anyone else shows up. Trey Johnson's going up a little bit.
Trey and Koulibaly are popping too on the same model.
Oh, yeah, I believe that. Let's see. Bilal, 5,100. How much is he popping? 5,100. Yeah, he is like in that range of like even Io. So like a decent pivot there. Miles Turner. Yeah, makes sense. This is from the earlier slate. All right. Next up, I like Bilal. I don't know if you remember when he first came back, I just kept playing him over and over and over again, but he never did anything. So this is another, I'm just kind of tired of him, but he makes sense from like a DFS fantasy point perspective. The other side of this game, I like a bit more. The Bucks don't have a lot of injury news. Like no one's really hurt besides Prince, who's been out for a while. Great matchup against Washington. Are you taking shots here?
Yep, on a couple guys.
Okay.
Definitely forcing in some Ryan Rollins. I just love his price, 6,400. Somebody who can get you 40 plus in a super soft matchup. So matching the field there, 15%. And then I was going back and forth on Turner because he's just so inconsistent. But I ended up leaning on playing him, another 15% min for me, just to, again, have a few lines to get off some of the other chalky bigs like Joe Allen and Vooch in them. So last game he put up 40 over 40 fantasy points. So upside is still in there. Of course, he hasn't shown it as much, but it's the Wizards' super soft defense. So willing to take a chance there tonight.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to argue with that. I I just don't like Mouse Turner anymore.
It's understandable for
So
sure.
it's like, I can't do it. But this is one of those spots where it's like, if he's gonna do it, this should be it. And he had a good game last time out too, didn't he?
Yep, over 40 fantasy points.
Yeah, and I wasn't on Ryan Rollins either because I was kind of looking at this slate in a pretty like narrow way. There's just certain spots I wanted to make sure I hit, and so I kind of missed and skipped over Ryan Rollins. But you're right, 6,400 is a little too cheap for the upside he brings to the table. So I put a 15% in there, and then KPJ, he's pricey. We're not getting a discount, but he's another guy who does have 50, 60 point upside on this slate. There aren't too many games, so I'm willing to kind of make sure I have exposure to guys who are in that kind of situation who I might need on a slate this size. He's not someone that I love just because of his price tag, but he's someone I didn't want to not have. And then Giannis is going to be a leverage play for me tonight. If I'm playing Wemby, I'm going to play Giannis too. Similar plays in the sense that both of them are limited from a how much they're going to be on the court standpoint. But in this matchup, he can do it in less than 30 minutes. So I just wanted to have exposure to a super low-owned Giannis on this slate and a great matchup. But there's a ton of risk here. He's one of the riskier pay-up options on the slate for sure. All right. Games get worse. They started off strong, and then they get really gross. We have Portland going up against the Thunder. 16-point spread. We did see it the other night. The Hawks kept it close, but that's not something we've been able to say very often about this Thunder team, and I'm not trying to – I don't expect that to become a trend.
Yeah.
Portland tonight, they are without Jeremy Grant, which means Kamara and the other forwards should see a boost because of that. But this is a hellacious matchup, so I don't care that much. Chris Murray is questionable. If he's out, then Kisoko, I don't know how to say his name, he'll probably start again. But that's pretty much it from an injury news perspective. Did you do anything to Portland?
Yes, I did. I definitely agree with what you said. I don't think it's going to be a trend where teams like this are going to keep it competitive with OKC. In fact, I don't think they're going to keep it close at all tonight. So for that reason, definitely not playing any of the main guys here. I am taking a shot on one guy who fits into what I want to do tonight, and that's Caleb Love. He's going to be another leverage play for me. I have a 15% min on him. He's been playing around 30 minutes. We have him at 24, but if this game does get ugly, it'll probably be over 30 again. We've seen him play 34, and another 4K guy who can get you 30 plus. So just taking a stand there and going double the field, and that's it for me.
Yeah, when someone's been balling, it's not hard for me to get on board. And Caleb Love, he's been good, and he's looked really good too. So I'll put a 10% min on him and follow you on that. Outside of that, I don't have exposure to any of the Pelicans. Maybe 1%, okay. 3% Denny Avdia, but yeah, not a lot of exposure here. Other side of this game, I think, is a little bit more interesting just because of the pretty solid matchup here. For OKC tonight, they are without Isaiah Hartenstein. So Cason Wallace has been starting. And then Holmgren moves to the 5. It's kind of how they've been playing it here lately. So it doesn't move the needle that much for me, but it's worth noting. Are you prioritizing any of the Thunder tonight?
Not really, but I am getting quite a bit of SGA, and I think that's just because of all the mins of the 4K guys I forced in. So I didn't put any mins, but I'm actually getting 40% of them. So I'm not going to fight with that. He's shown time and time again he can do some damage in just 3 quarters if that's what it ends up being. So not going to uncheck him or lower him by any means. Definitely can make a case for Jalen Williams and Chet. They have pretty nice upside as well. I just didn't pull the trigger on those guys.
Yeah. And I don't think you're wrong. I mean, I don't even think the men's are why you're getting SGA. I think it's just the Chicago value. Because even when I just did my first run, SGA was showing up in 40% of my lineups, and I was like, what is going on here? And even now, he's showing up in 23% of mine. And so I'll be over the field on him, even though he's not my favorite pay-up option. it's part of why I do have men's on guys like Giannis and Wimby and other just pay up options, just as a way to get a little bit different off of SGA, who again I'm over the field on, but he's not my favorite stud on the slate. So I'm with you. I'll be over the field. I have him. I did want to make sure I was over the field to Jalen Williams because with his price tag, it's a little bit easier for me to see him being able to exceed value, even if this game does blow out pretty early. So he's just kind of like my player of choice. You could easily choose Chet with him being at the 5, maybe a couple more rebounds there. But for me, I just kind of picked my battle with Jalen Williams and called it a day there. And then that's it. I mean, AJ Mitchell's showing up in 1% of lineups, but I didn't do anything to make that happen. That's just the DS doing its thing. So yeah, that's this slate in a nutshell, guys. New Year's Eve. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be real honest here. I don't think we'll have a show tomorrow. Like after this, I have to go get a haircut, get on a flight, and then fly back tomorrow mid-afternoon. I'm probably not going to make it. I'm going to be hungover as all hell too. So like, it's just probably not likely. I probably will still play and do a leverage sheet for DFS Army VIP members. And I'll definitely still be in the Discord and stuff, but the show, it's going to be tough, y'all. It's going to be tough.
I was going to say, that's just more of a reason to become a member if you're not, because we'll still be able to hook you up in the chat.
Exactly. But hey, a miracle might happen. I'll let y'all know. And Brandon, I'll let you know probably around like noonish. But click the link in the description. Use promo code BDUB for a 10% discount on that VIP membership. But that's going to be it, y'all. Good luck. Peace out.